Hello YouTube and welcome to Prime Productions. I'm a new YouTube channel, so bear with me as I figure things out. So I wanted to thank all of you for following the channel, and if you're a new viewer, thanks for coming by. Drop a hello in the comments section below, we'd love to hear from you. This particular video is the second in a series of videos I'm making where I will make a Pathfinder 2e character from levels 1 to 10 for community use. The reason behind this is that I want to make a character that people can just grab and play if they ever find themselves in a situation where they are a new player looking to join a game or find themselves in a time crunch to join a game mid-campaign. The character sheets for all 10 levels of this character will be in the description below. And yes, I know Paizo did this with their iconics for Pathfinder Society, but they only made their characters at a few different levels. I'm doing all levels from 1 to 10. Side note, as I write this, I had need of one of these character sheets just last night. My friend was leaving town and he wanted to play one last game of his campaign, so the GM invited the rest of us who weren't in the campaign to play so we could have one last game with our friend. Of course, we didn't have any characters in that level range, and it would have been helpful if we did, so we didn't have to spend the first hour of the game trying to cobble together a character while listening to the story and role-playing, so I guess I'm saying that this situation does happen from time to time. As a reminder of the ground rules, I'm making these characters with mostly rules from the player and GM core. To be as broadly applicable as possible, I'm not using the free archetype rules, though if you want to do the work of adding a free archetype to these guys, feel free. Another thing is that, while I've designed these characters so that they would work in the world of Galarian, I've also made them generic enough that they could be fit into most campaign worlds. So if your GM has their own homebrew world, most of these characters should work fine. I'm going to be providing a background for each character, but you can change the specifics of the background as you see fit. If you want to change up the character's gender identity, sexuality, have them be trans, whatever, that's all fine. I give you permission to do that. These are characters that are designed for you to be able to play them how you want. All I ask is that you try not to pass them off as your own work, please. Lastly, quick little aside, I know I said I'd make everything from the player or GM core, but I lied. Today's character worships a deity from outside the player core. In order to get the character concept I wanted, I had our character today worship Halkamora, the Imperial Lord of Gardens, Parks, and Orchards. Link to her in the description below. Everything else is in the player or GM core though, so let's move on to the Cleric. Panis Takon was born in a small halfling village on the edge of a great forest with wild and wondrous creatures. Young Panos was obsessed with the forest, always running off into it and coming home trailing mud and twigs into his parents' house. He loved camping in the forest, and even when he couldn't, he'd spend hours learning how to navigate the underbrush and befriend the animals. He knew a druid circle to be somewhere in the forest, and when he happened upon one of those druids in his excursions, he begged to be let into their circle. But they always said he was too young and small, and that they didn't want to take him away from his parents. However, those halcyon days were not to last. As Panos grew older, the forest became darker, the animals more cruel. The underbrush became thick with brambles and thorns that weren't there before, and there were more and more logs found to be rotting. Eventually, Panos didn't see any druids anymore, and rumor was that they had retreated to some remote section of the forest, or quite possibly quit the area entirely. Panos was not idle during this time, still wanting to go out and explore the forest, but his parents were worried for his safety. They began restricting how long and how far he could go out into the forest, out of an overabundance of caution. Eventually, they had to forbid him from going out into the forest entirely after a pack of wolves came out of the forest and began terrorizing the town, something that had never happened before. Panas was, of course, conflicted. He deeply loved the forest and yearned to return to there to figure out what was going on and maybe fix it, because now even he realized something was wrong. He begged his parents to let him go where the druids were hiding and let him join them so he could save his beloved forest. Thankfully, his parents came up with a compromise to keep their kid safe, but to also get him something close to what he wanted. One of the local halfling priests was a follower of Halkamora, the Imperial Lord of Nature who helped with local crops. While he wasn't a druid, Panos's folks figured he was the next best thing and apprenticed their son under him. Panos started learning the ways of nature as filtered through Halkamora. While he wasn't becoming a druid like he wanted as a child, he was still a servant of nature in his own way. Finally, after years of studying under the priests, Panos was deemed a full war priest of Halkamora. By then, the forest had become dark and terrifying, and few ventured into it. Panos set off on a journey to find allies or information about what was corrupting his beloved forest and how to fight it, and that's where he begins play. Panos is a war priest of Halkamora. One of his most defining features is that he uses a simple club as a weapon, which does a d8 damage in his hands thanks to the Deadly Simplicity class feature. As he levels up, he gets emblazoned armaments, which he applies to his shield, as well as the Raise Symbol feat. Combined together, these effects let him raise a shield, which is also his holy symbol, and provide him with +2 to his saves, +2 to his AC, and let certain successful saves count as critical successes, making him very defensible. Now, we don't have a remaster version of Halkamora out, so we don't know if the Imperial Lord requires people to sanctify holy or not, but I'm going to say that Panos is not sanctified holy or unholy. He's more of a cleric of nature than worried about battles of good versus evil. Oh, and one last thing, on his character sheet, I left his spells blank because he's a cleric and can choose his spells at the beginning of each day. Grab whatever spells you feel most appropriate after a long rest. For cantrips, I suggest a standard loadout like Detect Magic, Light, Needle Darts, Vitality Lash, and Prestidigitation. And that's it for my pre-generated cleric. If you like the build or have comments on it, let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your constructive criticism. If you like this channel and want to see it grow, please like and subscribe. That tells not only me, but also YouTube that you want to see more of my kind of content. Until then, thank you, good luck, and happy gaming.